Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And Halloween update.
Get ready for your Flanagan flannels.
Yeah, put on your Flanagan flannels.
Flannels is what I meant to say. I said flannels, whatever the fuck that is. It's sold at Big Lots.
Flanagan powers unite.
Morphin' time.
It's not about being a hipster, it's about Mike fucking Flanagan.
Ow, from Home Improvement. Go.
Shit. So, this is some crazy shit. This Halloween story ties into Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ah.
I like it when they touch.
When they touch tips.
Hot pocket. So, as you guys know from the news, or maybe from our update video that we did on it, that Wes Craven's estate is accepting pitches right now for the new Nightmare on Elm Street movie, for both and or a film and or a 13 episode, I don't know if they actually said it was 13 episodes, but an episodic Nightmare on Elm Street on HBO Max. But Mike Flanagan, right after that, tweeted, he was like, I've got a pitch. You know, I want to. And I was like, fuck yes. For you guys who don't know who Mike Flanagan is, which I'm sure you do, he directed Oculus. He directed The Haunting of Hill House. He directed Hush. He directed Dr. Sleep, which was just out. He's a fucking worker, dude. He's just been putting shit out left and right. And Gerald's Game on Netflix, which is amazing. He
directed The Happening. By the way, when you said Oculus, I was all in. Like, I love that movie. That movie fucking scared me. That was a great ass movie.
Oh, dude, you watched Haunting of Hill House too, didn't you?
No, you told me not to watch it.
You didn't watch that?
No, because you said there was herky jerky shit in it.
Oh, there's a lot of shit.
I'm good.
You got the get on that.
I don't want to. Why don't you tell me go fucking goat, man?
But yeah, so he tweeted that. He's like, you know, I have an idea. I have a pitch, and I went crazy in my cha-chas about it because I want to see that shit. I think he would be a fantastic director for Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think generally the majority of people think that as well. But he went on to Bloody Disgusting's podcast, The Boo Crew, which is a fucking great name. That was genius. And here's what happened. He said, they asked him about the tweet, and while it says here in the article, which I'll put down below, he says he obviously couldn't elaborate. He did tease, I got a killer idea. And he said, oh, it's so good, said Siegel, who I guess he told before they filmed or whatever it was. But he says, I'm dying to get in there to pitch it. If I got to do this, it would be so cool. It worries me a little bit because if I was at the Wes Craven estate and I heard that he wanted something to do with this, I would be fucking on the phone immediately.
First off, I want to like stop calling it the Wes Craven estate because it feels like we're talking about Charles Xavier's rival. Like at the Wes Craven estate.
I don't know exactly who it is.
I know, but at the Wes Craven estate, Juggernaut released himself onto the world.
Meanwhile, back at headquarters.
And then Charles had to come in with Magneto. But like, yeah, like, okay, well, the Wes Craven family. So, you know, yeah, the idea, he had a great idea, and but it also, I like Mike Flanagan. I think he's a great director, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I got this great idea. You'll never believe it. You have no idea how spectacular, sensational, amazing. Oh my God, it's going to be in your face in 5 minutes if you hire me. And let's take an idea. And, but it's like
he just wants to pitch it.
I know, but it's like, because you're gonna get a foot in the door. Then if they were like, I'm not even looking at Flanagan Fannell's fucking like direction here, and then you're like saying, I've got an amazing idea and I got some fucking clout. I got some clout, and he's like, and they're like, he's like, you're never gonna regret it. And he keeps on like, it's like a guy that keeps on like, he's like, have you heard about fucking Jehovah's Witnesses, the one that keeps on pounding on your door? And finally you're like, fuck, what? And it's like, well, fuck you too, half dead motherfucker.
It also shows though how bad he wants to do it.
I know,
like, he's willing to go out there and put himself out there and say, I want to do this.
And I would be down with it, except for the fact what you told me specifically about when he was talking with Jason Blum and what his idea or pitch was.
That's what we're getting to.
Yeah, no.
That's what we're getting to here. This is where the Halloween news comes in, and this is fucking crazy. So when you guys remember when Halloween was announced, there was a lot of talk about who was going to direct it. A lot of people wanted the dude. His name's I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but the guy who directed The Guest. There was talk about him doing it. Adam Wingard, I think. Talked about him doing it, and he was like, "Well, I kind of already made my Halloween movie with The Guest." Same kind of thing happened here. Mike Flanagan's name was brought up a lot when they were talking about who was going to direct Halloween 2018. As you know, they ultimately said it on David Gordon Green. But here's what he said about that. He said, Jason Blum called me once and asked me that. I tried to come up with a take for a minute when Blumhouse got Halloween. And when asked what his Halloween would have looked like, he explained the answer to that is, I would do Hush. In a lot of ways, Hush is my Halloween.
I can see, it's okay. I like Hush though. Hush is good movie.
I liked Hush as well, man. And what's crazy about, and there's a little bit more to this. Shut the fuck up. Hush. Are you sure you don't have kids somewhere, Sean Kemp?
Stupid idiot.
That was a dad joke.
It wasn't a dad joke. It was the best joke.
Where's going? Fuck the prom queen.
She was the prom queen. Really?
But yeah, dude, if I was a good speed, I would never invite Sean Connery over for dinner.
He's fucking good.
Because I would just be afraid he would sleep with, my wife.
Yeah, but he's too sexy. He's a sexy looking guy. He looks like he always smells like Brute, and he sells it in like a little briefcase.
But yeah, think about that for a second though. So if his, much like Adam Wingard's The Guest was his Halloween, which totally makes fucking sense how that movie panned out.
Or Terminator.
Yeah, that too, a little bit, a lot of it.
All of it.
Suck a dick a bit.
All of it.
Suck a dick a bit.
Dickle pickle.
Dickle pickle. What the fucking dickle?
Creamsicles.
Anyways, but think about it for a second. Hush, as a movie, it's isolated as fuck. You could have taken out the entire Jamie Lee Curtis storyline. You could have not worried about, is it a sequel to this? Where did this take place? None of that shit matters. It's very clear cut. It could that idea really could have actually brought back the scariness of Michael Myers, which we loved Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we didn't, but think about it. Like, it's isolated. You don't know where in Michael's timeline this is. You don't know what movie this is a sequel to or anything like that. You just have a character. Maybe she's deaf in this. Maybe she isn't. I don't know. But you have a character alone in her house that's isolated. And it's been a while since I've seen this movie. But Michael Myers just shows up. He's just standing outside the window eating a fucking chicken leg. Not really, but you know what I mean.
I wonder if he was listening to Lionel Richie before he got there.
He just fucking wanders upon her house. You never know what's going on in the world building outside of that. You just have this one isolated story, and you play out that one night. What does that sound to me?
No, it
sounds like fucking Halloween, 1978.
It looks awesome, and it sounds great. I mean, I'm saying it looks awesome with Hush was great, and it sounds great. The idea of having Hush being the Michael Myers film, except the fact that diehard fans or people that have loved Michael Myers and the Halloween franchise for so long, there's a plot already established for Michael, and then they want to know, well, what's been going on? Why is this a one-off? Like, it almost ran into the same thing like Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, an amazing fucking film, no doubt. But at the same time, people are like, does this connect to anything else going on? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's going on? There's going to be another Halloween movie, but it has nothing to do with this night.
That's that's the only thing. I guess that's the only question that would have left is how do you build a sequel on that? I don't know if that movie would have had a sequel, and that's a good point because, like, we always want more fucking Halloween.
Give me more.
But I've said this before. What if Halloween movies? What if you took John Carpenter's idea with Halloween 3, where he wanted to make it an anthology, right? But you also took what people want in Halloween, which is fucking Michael Myers, and you mix those two things together. What if every single Halloween sequel was a different tale of different people caught in Michael Myers' fucking eyesight?
It would be cool, except for the fact that it doesn't have any kind of a tangible plot that's going throughout it. And I think that
leaves you free to write whatever the fuck you want to write.
At the same time, that you're making episodes on Netflix, like just different stories in different areas with the same. I mean, it's cool.
James Bond.
It sounds great, but at the same time, I know, but he's not James. Like the James Bond stories, even the James Bond, especially the newer ones, the Daniel Craig stories they're all tied together, especially with Skyfall and all that. Like the Daniel Craig is
loosely.
Well, I mean, the guy's coming back to complete the last movie.
Yeah, but they're loosely tied together, and you could loosely tie these movies together. Well, you could have certain strands, like little things from movie to movie. Maybe a character that has something to do with it, maybe a little bit, but you're not shoehorning yourself into he has to chase Jamie. He has to chase Laurie.
I think you could get rid of the Jamie Laurie storyline by doing that, but you have to explain in some way or another what has happened before that. Like, either are you going after Halloween 7, which they won't even mention Laurie Strode or Jamie or any of that stuff, or is it a brand new tale? I mean, at least in the 2018 one, they were like, all right, so it's going to take place after Halloween 1. We're going to erase everything after that, so at least you have a starting point, and then you can tell your tale.
But you didn't really have a starting point because you were still tied down to everything.
You were, and I said it. It's great that you have Jamie Lee Curtis back because she brings the fucking dollar. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, that's why the studio wanted her back. But while I kind of enjoyed it, it was a throwback to the original. I'm tired of the fucking same thing rehashed over and over again. I wanted something new. I think everybody did, but it was cool. I'm thinking at the same time, honestly, all they fucking had to do was just be like, this happened in 1978. Jamie Lee Curtis fucking went on Twitter and left everybody alone and told people how to raise their kids, and she never was seen in Haddonfield ever again. You could say that, right? You could say that. So she survived. She was a survivor. Michael was in an asylum. Michael could give a fuck less about her. Then he breaks out and he's going to terrorize Haddonfield again. That's it. You don't have to have Jamie Lee Curtis at all. Like, that's it.
I think I honestly think, dude, that if Hush had come out, if the new Halloween movie was Hush, like almost literally, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If the new Halloween movie was Hush, I think that what would have happened is we would have watched it. Everybody would have lauded it for. I think it would have been scarier than anything you've seen Michael do, because you don't know. You don't know. That was so scary about the first one. You don't know. You know that he came from Smith's Grove or whatever, but there's so much that you just don't know, and that added to the fear. That added to what was going on in this movie. Having him show up there and you not knowing what was going on around that movie, I think it would add to the fear, and it would make you focus on what's happening in this fucking film alone. You don't have to. You don't have to figure out why is Michael chasing Laurie. Are they brother and sister? None of that stuff. This is a Halloween movie. We're here to scare you. I think that was the way to do it. And I think what would have happened is I do think that you're right as well. I think when the movie ended, everybody would have gone, that was fucking scary. That was cool. Michael's great as long as they got him right and all that stuff. But they would have said, okay, but what next? Because we need a sequel, but how do you do that? And I honestly, I would love to see an anthology that's centered around Michael Myers. You're right, that does feel like a Netflix series. Yeah. But you would have to add a few intangibles, right? A few intangibles, but not stuff that painted you, because Halloween's always painted itself in a corner. With the Man in Black in Halloween 5, with the runes in Halloween 6.
But that was just stupid writers. Like, that was just the guy that they were trying to, like, I mean,
once it's done, it's done.
They weren't stupid. They were just trying their best to maybe reinvigorate the franchise with some kind of new idea that just didn't work. And I understand that, like, you know, whatever, it got approved by a COD, but at the same time, yeah, like, it's weird, man. Like Michael Myers, to me, when he's on the big screen, when he's on cinema, like, there's so much, like, rich history of that character that people have grown up with and they love. I mean, it's like making a Batman one-off movie and not exploring, or at least acknowledging where he came from and what his rogues gallery or whatever or anything like that. They're like, no, it's just gonna be this one Batman story and he's gonna solve the missing cat person.
But what about so it was just like with Spider-Man though. Like, okay, so like when Spider-Man comes back, do we have to see Uncle Ben die every single time?
But that's one single part of it. But they didn't ignore the history of Spider-Man. Like, everything else is still there. So, like, him not, you know, realizing where he fits at in the world. I'm just saying.
I think in sequel, once you got into sequel territory, like once you did get the sequels to that movie, you would start to tie that in a little bit. But just to kick it off, just to give you that feel of this is new, this is scary, this is the unknown, this is Michael unhinged. You don't have to think about all these other things. This is just, and because that's what the first movie was. That's why it was so scary. This guy shows up in a fucking mask. Why is he wearing that mask? And he starts killing babysitters. I think that if you do that from the first movie, I just think you recenter it, and that I just love that idea. But let me ask you this though: if you could have, I know that your concerns with it, and they're good, but would you have wanted to see that movie?
What?
A Hush movie as Michael Myers just all of a sudden walks up and starts preying on this.
I thought you were saying, I've seen Hush, and it was good.
Would you want to see Mike Flanagan's Hush?
I mean, I would love to see it. I think it would be a really cool movie. Just like Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, a one-shot was awesome, and it's amazing, but it has nothing to do with the DC, the expanded universe at all. Like, it has nothing to do with it. Great, I love it. At the same time, though, based on what Hush was a great movie and stuff, I would almost feel like if it was a Michael Myers story, it would almost feel like, I'm talking about in the vein of Hush, that I was watching a fan film with a really big budget, and their own imagination going to work, and I would love it. I would think it would be great, but again, you can't put it in the mythos of Michael Myers. Like, you gotta. I'm not disagreeing, and I agree, and I think we all agree that you got to break Michael out of this fucking stagnant bullshit that he's been in since '78, and that's one way to go. But you got to bring it to a point where it makes sense that he broke out.
Eventually, you have to explain something.
So there would,
but not in the first movie.
But then again, Mike Flanagan, if that was the case, and he was going to make Hush with Michael Myers as the main protagonist or the antagonist, I should say, then he would like, obviously he would drop hints here and there, and like it would be a kind of different script about what happened, maybe acknowledging the sequels or what happened before him, and or something, you know, it wouldn't dwell on it, which is, I think that honestly that's what the issue is. They dwell too much in the past. Get over your fucking self. Get on with the future. I think they dwell too much, and then they try to recreate it, and they're like, oh, but that was so cool. I was like, yeah, it was cool, and it was great, and it was shot, and everybody loved it. Don't keep going back to that well and digging up yourself a fucking heart attack. Yeah. Go forward and just use that as a background piece, and then have a new story. Yeah. So if Hush was the jumping point for a new Halloween, then I'd be okay with it. If you at least acknowledged some of the, the classic. I mean, you don't want to leave out Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis. You don't want to leave out all the other films. Honestly, you probably could go with the fact that in Resurrection, actually, fuck that movie. You could go with H2O, and when he got it, you'd have to get rid of the H2O too, because he wasn't decapitated, but was he decapitated? Maybe just acknowledge some of the films. I mean, I was trying to think like where would be a good starting off point, like what would you get rid of? And even if you were going to get rid of, because I don't want to get now, you know what? Even if you're going to get rid of everything but Halloween, and you're going to have 78 still in there, and then jump off with Hush.
I just think that the movie doesn't explain any of that. Like, you just don't. The movie doesn't do any of that.
And if it was, but if Hush was a Michael Myers film, and that's what they were going for, then that's fine. But I would love it, and I think it would be amazing, and I think it would generate a lot of buzz, and people would be like really into it again. But then people are like, all right, well, what's the next move?
Yeah, the sequel after that would create a lot of questions, and you would. But I still think that those questions would be easier to answer than what we're currently trying to answer. But either way, it's fucking fascinating.
Yeah, it's cool.
We both agree. Just imagine that, guys. I would love to know your all's thoughts on that. A little bit more here, though. He goes on to say about why he ended up not doing Halloween, and it's actually kind of funny because he says. He says, I found my notes for that very brief period of time when I was trying to come up with a take on Halloween because Jason had said, hey, if you want to do this, we can probably figure something out. I'm glad that I didn't, and so glad it did not come to me because the only note that I had scribbled over 3 days of brainstorming was, Dr. Loomis, a woman?
You're fired. No. Fucking ass. You're fired.
And that's as far as I got on Halloween. But actually,
if I was in the goddamn boardroom and I got a little goddamn piece of napkin from the Waffle House that he had scribbled, Dr. Loomis is a woman, with a question mark, like, you're fired. Like, you're an ass. Well, like, there's nothing about you that is
good. To be fair, though, honestly, Halloween 2018 kind of went that direction. Because, in a way, Jamie Lee Curtis is the new Loomis.
No.
Think about it.
Well,
I totally disagree with
that. But if somebody was sitting across from me and I was like, hey, man, I really like your work. Let's see what you got. And he slides over a fucking piece of like napkin to me. And it's got a couple of notes scribbled. And it says in big bold letters with a question mark, Dr. Loomis, a woman? I'm like, you're hired? Not? Like, I would be like, dude, are you, like, how drunk were you?
I totally fucking agree. Like, Dr. Loomis should not be a woman.
The thing is, oh my god, dude, I'd be like, you need to go back and fix this before I can offer you this, which would be the cinematic fucking Halloween universe.
Have you lost your goddamn mind?
I'm like, what the hell? Like, it was like somebody, what the hell?
Even he's laughing about it right here, and he says, and eventually, I don't think he would have went with that, but he said they made get if the cross spaghetti.
Yeah.
Don't touch my spaghetti. They made the right call of not trusting the franchise to me, he jokes. In a lot of ways, Hush was my riff on the beautiful simplicity, silence, tension, suspense that Halloween is. All of my love for Carpenter's film is poured into that. If Hush didn't exist and I was doing Halloween, it would look a lot like Hush.
Well, I mean, that's fine, and I'm okay with that. Like, I mean, again, as far as him being the main force behind possibly a Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm fine with that unless he makes fucking Freddy a woman. I swear to God, dude.
Well, there's a lot of people that are campaigning for that, actually.
Fuck that.
They think that that's the only way to make him scary again.
Either way, it's exciting that we're having these conversations, that the Wes Craven family, not estate, are accepting pitches, and this is a good thing. This is a great thing, and it's, unfortunately, Wes Craven's no longer with us, and we don't have any ideas to bounce off of him and what he would think, but obviously the family thinks that they have the chance to rebuild the franchise of Nightmare on Elm Street. So, I mean, okay, I mean, it's his family, and they own the rights to it. I don't think they're going to fucking disregard or in any way dishonor the memory of Wes Craven by making some shit stain that no one will fucking remember. I mean, they already did that with Jackie Earle Haley film, but and that was because Jackie Earle Haley was actually a good actor, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But it's fucking, we're ready to get fucking nightmared because every street has an Elm Street, motherfucker. It always did.
Touch me, baby. Drive me crazy.
That's.
They should play that. They should wait till the credits roll up and then play.
That would be. But no, I was saying, what if they just did? Let's start with Nightmare 2 and remake that movie from Nightmare 1.
Yeah, that's a whole video idea.
I know,
but I do think that the movie should be fucking serious as shit and scary as fuck, and the ending should be fucking horrifically scary.
And then Kurt Russell should come in and fuck shit up.
No, but then right when the credits come up, everybody's sitting going, oh, fuck, and you just got that feeling I've just watched something fucked up, and then the credits roll and it goes. touch me, baby.
See?
Drive me. That would be the ultimate.
Or you could go with Nightmare 5 at the end with the credits roll. It was like, want me to get him? Well, I got him.
or the fucking Fresh Prince Nightmare song. Or Dawkins. It's the Dream Warriors.
Don't want to stream no more. Anyway, there's a lot of ideas. Me and Mike are available if you guys need somebody to help you with your editing or the end credits.
I got a pitch. Pitch just do.
I got a pitch in my pants.
Whatever your fucking faces, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn
right up in your crack hole.
Hush, 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 hush. The song from Piper.
I don't know what the fuck
it's a song from I Know What You Did Last Summer soundtrack.
Oh.
It was like one of the only good songs on there. It was a remake of that song.
I literally thought that was some shitty song that they put on Now 88. Like now this is what I call music 88. It's like nobody listens to that.
That's a classic, bitch.
I never heard.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.